Welcome to Half 24. Today in the episode, Bernardo Silva officially completes his 9-year history at the Etihad. The Portuguese has made a final decision. Rebellion at Liverpool. The dressing room has risen against Arne Slot. The coach has already agreed to leave the club and is discussing contract termination terms with the management. Pep Guardiola confirmed Rodri's departure to Real, and the Madrid club is negotiating with a top defender. The parties are actively discussing a contract. We are talking about all this and more right now. The future of Rodri at Manchester City is becoming one of the main topics of European football on the eve of the summer transfer window. After a long period of speculation, the situation has finally gained specificity thanks to frank statements from both the footballer himself and his head coach. The Atletico graduate quite unexpectedly removed all questions regarding his loyalty to his former club in an interview for Onda Cero. His words sounded like a clear signal to the management of the Los Blancos. The fact that I played for Atletico does not stop me from moving to Real Madrid. You cannot refuse the best club in the world. This phrase by Rodri actually confirms that the Spaniard is ready for a new challenge in his homeland and a change of club residence in the near future. Reaction of Pep Guardiola was not long in coming. The Citizens coach did not deny the obvious and expressed understanding of his leader's position, emphasizing that no one will be held by force in Manchester. There is no football player who would refuse the opportunity to play for Real Madrid. I fully understand this. He was born in Spain. If a player is not happy, he must leave. I always believe, if he is happy, great, but if not, just knock on the door of the sporting director, Pep noted. According to Fabrizio Romano, Manchester City has already made its move by offering the defensive midfielder a new deal with an annual salary of over 20 million euros. However, Rodri is in no hurry to answer, which forces the club to prepare for a difficult scenario. Regarding finances, the situation for the English giant looks ambiguous. The Spaniard's contract expires in the summer of 2027, which means that in just a few months, he will enter his final year of the agreement. Rodri's market value today is estimated at 65 million euros. If the player finally rejects the offer for an extension, the Citizens may consider a sale as early as this summer. It is expected that in such a case, the club will ask for about 100 million euros. This will allow them not only to fully compensate for the 70 million euros spent on the player in 2019, but also to receive a solid profit. For Guardiola, this is a serious challenge. To keep a key element of his system or to get the maximum benefit while the market price of the player is still high. Do you think Rodri's statement about the impossibility of refusing Real Madrid is a disrespect to Manchester City? Or is it just an honest assessment of the realities of modern football? And is it worth it for the Madrid side to pay 100 million euros for a 30-year-old player 1 year before the end of his contract? One of the most iconic players in the modern history of Manchester City is preparing for a farewell. Bernardo Silva will leave the team already this summer. The Portuguese decision is final. He is leaving as a free agent after the completion of the current agreement in June 2026. In the coaching staff of the Citizens, they already openly admit that finding a direct replacement for such a unique football player will be practically impossible. Over 9 years at the Etihad, Silva has turned into an indispensable element of Pep Guardiola's system. His statistics are impressive: 450 matches, 76 goals, and 78 assists. Together with the club, the Portuguese won 19 trophies, including 6 Premier League titles and the long-awaited Champions League Cup. Currently, Bernardo is 31 years old, and he wants to decide on his new home even before the start of the World Cup. Regarding the future, the Portuguese has plenty to choose from. His priority remains Barcelona. Bernardo never hid his sympathy for the Catalan club, and the opportunity to play again alongside João Cancelo only fuels this interest. However, financial problems of the Blaugrana may stand in the way, so other serious players have appeared on the horizon. Juventus of Turin is actively probing the ground and is ready to make Silva the leader of its updated team. Also, the situation is being monitored at Paris Saint-Germain, where the Portuguese is seen as an ideal conductor in the center of the field. For those looking for romance, there remains the option of returning to Benfica in Lisbon, although financially, this is the most difficult path. We do not forget about the exotic offers from MLS, from Inter Miami, and sky-high contracts from Saudi Arabia are already lying on the table of the players' representatives. Despite the fact that Bernardo's market value due to age and the end of his contract is currently about 38 million euros, his status as a free agent makes this transfer the main deal of the summer. Any new club will get a world-class master absolutely for free, but must be ready to satisfy his salary appetites, which in Manchester amounted to £300,000 per week. Do you think Bernardo Silva should go for a significant salary reduction for the sake of his dream of playing for Barcelona? Or is it time to accept a generous offer from Miami or Saudi Arabia? Real Madrid has officially started the process of preserving one of its most experienced defensive leaders. Antonio Rüdiger, whose current agreement expires already in June 2026, is close to signing a new contract. The management of the Los Blancos considers the 33-year-old German as a key figure in the dressing room and on the field, so negotiations are already in an active stage. According to available information, the parties are discussing the continuation of cooperation for one more season, until the summer of 2027. This fully corresponds to the policy of the Madrid club regarding players who have turned 30. Rüdiger joined the team in the summer of 2022 from Chelsea as a free agent after completing his performances for Chelsea. And during this time, he has become an indispensable element of the defensive structures. Regarding financial indicators and statistics, as of today, the market value of the German center-back is 9 million euros. His annual salary in Madrid is approximately 14,600,000 euros. In the current season, despite injuries, Rüdiger demonstrated stability, playing 19 matches in all tournaments, managing to score 1 goal. Despite his solid age by football standards, Antonio remains one of the most reliable defenders in La Liga, which forces the club to act now without waiting for free agent status in the summer. The situation at Liverpool has reached a critical point, and it seems the era of Arne Slot at Anfield is coming to an end much earlier than expected. After another humiliating defeat to Manchester City at the Etihad, where the Reds fans began to leave the stands en masse even before the final whistle, the club management, represented by Fenway Sports Group, accelerated the process of reviewing the head coach positions. According to available information, the Dutch specialist has already expressed readiness to voluntarily leave his post at the end of the season, if the parties agree on the terms of contract termination. Liverpool's statistics in the current season look catastrophic. The team has already suffered 15 defeats in all competitions, and the total number of lost matches since the beginning of 2025 has reached 23. Such a regression forced Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes to start an emergency audit of the coaching staff's work without waiting for the end of the championship. Special attention is deserved by the atmosphere inside the dressing room. Several key players are immediately accused of letting their coach down. Dominik Szoboszlai came under fire for his irritated reaction to fans leaving the stadium, and the behavior of Hugo Ekitike, who decided to exchange shirts with an opponent right during the match, was perceived as a manifestation of unprofessionalism. In addition, the team leader Mohamed Salah, who is obviously conducting his farewell tour before leaving the club, is showing a serious slump in form, which was confirmed by a missed penalty in the game against the Citizens. Regarding financial and contract details, Arne Slot's current deal with the club is calculated until the summer of 2027, with a salary of about £8 million per year. However, now the issue of compensation for early termination of cooperation becomes secondary against the background of the risk of total loss of the season. The club management seeks to find a solution that will allow changing the trajectory of the team's development until Liverpool finally falls out of the number of contenders for high places. Do you think Arne Slot is the main culprit of this fall? Or does the problem lie with the players who lost motivation after the Klopp era?